Dear ladies and gentlemen, welcome and thank you for joining today's webinar on our intercultural training on the UAE, which is part of our Desire Internationalization Services and will be held by Isabella Kailani. My name is Lisa Maria Kadolnik. I work as EU Project Manager with ICS, the Internationalization Center Styria, and I'm pleased to open this 1.5-hour webinar today. To begin with, some important information for you. If you have questions, please do not hesitate to ask them. You can use the chat function on the right side of the screen, or you can mute yourself and ask them directly to our speaker. Not only will the webinar be recorded, but you will also get all the presentations and a workbook afterwards. And last but not least, in case of technical issues, we can be reached directly via the chat. Before giving you a short insight into our internationalization strategy tackling the UAE, let me introduce and welcome today's speaker, Isabella Kailani. Thanks for being here with us today.
Thank you very much, and also very warm welcome from my side.
Ms. Kailani is an international communication skills and leadership trainer. She's an ICF certified coach and founder of her training company Sparkside, which is based in Graz in Austria. She has a background in translation interpretation and nearly has 3 decades of experience living and working in diverse international settings. So she brings both practical expertise and a passion for international communication. And also her personal connection to the Arab world through her husband's Arabic roots and her international family has shaped her interest in this region especially. So briefly, what is all about Desire? For those that do not already know it, Desire stands for Development of E-Health Solutions Improving Resilience in Europe. It is a new project and a Euro cluster in the area of health. And what we want to achieve with this project is to help SMEs address challenges they face when they want to access e-health and digital health markets in Europe. And it aims especially at supporting you in your innovation and internationalization processes. So now let me tell you briefly what is covered by our internationalization strategy. It aims basically at connecting European entities, so SMEs in European countries, with entities in third countries in the UK and the UAE. And after accomplishing an in-depth analysis, we defined the following targets and goals. So we want to advance your internationalization processes in third country markets. We want to support you in finding the right cooperation partners in those third countries, identify global trends, and help you to acquire knowledge and capacities with webinars like the one today. And also we accomplished an in-depth analysis of those target markets for you. What do we offer you in concrete concerning the United Arab Emirates? So we offer you 2 webinars. One already took place with Mr. Retz. It's also available online, so you can already you can watch the recording if you want. It's on understanding and unlocking business opportunities. And the second webinar, as preparation for our trade mission, happens today. It's the Intercultural training. And our desired trade mission is basically a business delegation to the Arab Health 2025, which is the leading healthcare event in the Gulf region. So, but I don't want to steal any more time from our speaker today. I will directly hand over to Isabella, who will enlighten us on essential communication strategies and will help us to excel in the Gulf region business environment. So, then I will stop share my presentation. So, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for the very warm introduction. And again, warm welcome from my side. So let's get excited for the Emirates. Let's get excited for the Gulf region. And what I'll be talking about today is the communication side of things. And let me just, yes. And I would like to start with a quote that I love, and it's by the late Anita Roddick, who was CEO of The Body Shop, and it's communication is the key for any global business. And whoever knows me knows that I fully subscribe to this statement. Let me just share a little bit of myself. Who am I? So Lisa has already introduced me professionally. As she said, I have a background in translation as an interpreter. In 2020, I founded my communication skills company, Sparkside. And yeah, my interest in intercultural communication is one from my training, but also from basically living and interacting in international settings for about 30 years now. And especially the Gulf region is interesting for me because it is a true melting pot, if ever there is one. So I love a good challenge. And it's developing at an amazing pace. And yeah, so my goal for you today is one, to give you some guidelines, to give you some facts and figures probably, but hopefully also to get you excited for the region. So let's continue. Yeah, so what is it? So what is it that is expecting us? And some of you might have already been working in the region, in the Gulf region. Others might be in their starting shoes. You might just be thinking about getting active in the Gulf. So wherever you are standing, my goal is to show you what you can do to communicate successfully in the region, to communicate successfully in the Emirates, but also in the Gulf region, probably in the Middle East. Because regions are different, of course, and they are nowhere as different as they are in the Gulf region and the Emirates. But there are certain patterns and there are certain skills that just help us to work internationally in all of those regions. So my question to you, and I would like you to type into the chat just to get to know you a little bit better. Where are you on your journey? Why are you here, and what is your background? So if you are just curious, vaguely curious, and don't really think about entering the Emirate market just yet, then please type A into the chat. If you're already considering, then this would be a B. If you're already have started the process, this will be a C. And if you have already experience in working with the market, be it the Emirates, the Gulf region, or the Middle East in general, please type in D. And I'm curious about your replies. Okay, as you see here, baby steps, first steps, exciting. Okay. Elsa, you mightn't have expected to type something into the chat, so finding the chat is a thing. Take your time and let us know. Okay. There's more coming. A B from Sarah, a C. Okay, yes. Karen, you organized a trade mission several years ago. Okay. All right. So it's okay to be an A. It's okay just to be curious and just to see what is going on there and what you can learn. Yeah, without any experience. Okay, so yeah, different backgrounds on your side. Again, so B, I've got a B here. So let's zoom in onto the region and let's tell you a little bit about my map. Yeah, there are more answers coming in, a B and a C. Okay, I have lived and worked in the Gulf, not worked in business. Okay, so what will we be talking about today? So I promise to give you 5 key strategies that can help you. I just give you a quick overview. So the first part will be about assumptions. Whether we've lived there, whether we've worked there, whether we've got no idea, they're always assumptions. And it's always good to look behind them and to look at the facts and figures. So this is going to be the first part. The second part is about the skill of cultural awareness. What does it mean? How can we hone it? Number 3 will be on relationships first and why this is so important in the region and in the culture. Number 4 is an interesting one. It is about decoding context. So yeah, this is something we will learn, which is called listening to the air. So we'll get a little bit of an intro into what it means to listen to the air. And finally, heritage matters. So I want to make you curious to the rich heritage of the region and how that can help you build more strategic relationships and have more strategic conversations. So let's look at the first part, what to expect. And the subtitle is Rethinking Assumptions. What do I mean here? So let's zoom in again a little bit on the region. And again, my question to you, and I just saw that I need to give you more time to write into the chat. I was a little bit too quick before because I saw some answers coming later. But my question to you is just to get you all on the same page. Let's think of the UAE, of the Gulf region in general. If we want to communicate successfully, there's always at least 2 sides involved. So what do you think? Who are the people you might meet? And either if you're preparing to go to Arab Health, if you're preparing to build your first relationships there, or if you just move there and interact there, who are the people? And what are the challenges involved? So what are your ideas? So please write into the chat. What are you going to expect? What are your assumptions? I'm really curious, and I give you some more time than before. So who are the people? What might be the challenges? So this is requires more thinking time than just typing A, B, and C. Okay, so if nothing is coming, that's fine as well, because I have prepared some answers. And my answer is that you're going to expect what I would call a multiverse. So this is a photo taken, so it's a stock photo, but it was taken in 2017. And even back then, I think this is what reflects the charm and the challenge that we face on the Gulf. And some people have written, people who are willing to invest in innovative concepts, and the challenges are to bring my service into it in Arab language. Okay, yeah, that's one. Cultural differences. That's a good one. Okay. And obviously the picture has already prompted something, because yes, definitely cultural differences, a huge cultural diversity, and we'll look into the figures a little bit later. Innovation on the one hand and tradition on the other hand. Okay. Innovation again, potential customers. Yeah. Okay, differentiation promoting. Okay. Right. So on the one hand, innovation. On the other hand, tradition, and diversity. So I'm just reading because more messages are coming on. Okay, some customers already, but no concerted effort. Okay. Which language to translate the content in? Okay, so I will take that question with me and talk about it at a later stage, but it's a very good question. Yes, so there is language, there is culture, there are languages, so which language to translate in? Very good points. And let me get back to the human side, because whether we want investors or business partners, when building relationships, it's at the end, it's humans talking. And also our prospective clients, customers, they are humans. And if we look at this picture again, you can see a very human perspective. And again, you can see a seeming paradox. So again, very traditional clothes, at the same time technology, and this again was 2017. So we have very modern, very future looking, and at the same time very traditional. And this is also from a past picture from a past Arab Health event. Again, seemingly paradoxical. And this is who you meet. You will meet people from the region. You would meet people, experts from all sorts of regions, and yeah, so the challenge is to address them, to reach out to them, and to do your best communicating successfully. And just talking of expats, we'll talk about the numbers in a minute, but you can live as an expat in the UAE, and you can totally live in your own bubble. So you might not professionally deal with any Emirati nationals. And this is again something you might not. So this is what I said before, this is so challenging because there's so many flavors, so many options, and so many skills. Let's look at the area we're talking about today. So these are the United Arab Emirates with Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Sharjah, Ajman, Al Quwain, Ras Al Khaimah, and Fujairah. So what we are talking about today partly is just about this region. Partly there are things you can take away when dealing with people from other regions in the area. Let's look at the population, because my question was, who are you going to expect? Who are you going to deal with? And this might not be surprising to most of you, but the actual Emirati population is only 11.5%, while the expat population is 88.5%. And let's look at what this means. Who are the expats? And again, if you look at this graph, there are the Indians are the biggest expat group, followed by people from Pakistan, the Philippines, Egypt, and others. So this is interesting, isn't it? So, and doesn't mean you're going to deal with all of them. Maybe just with some of them, or with just some of them just in one way. And but it's just really good to know, because depending on your business strategy, on your export strategy, on your cooperation strategy, who is there and who can you reach out to? Also, interestingly, the gender statistics. So only 30.9% of the population are female, while expert are male. And this is largely due to a huge number of expats, expert laborers and workers who are predominantly male. If we look at the age statistics, so the UAE is a very young region. So most of the population are between the ages of 25 and 54. Yeah, so this is also good to know. demographics. Knowing different demographics is not only good to know when we want to strategically go into a market, but it's also important to know who we want to address, who we want to talk to, who we want to communicate with. And the UAE has been growing super fast over the last few years. And you can look at the statistics, and I just added the source here. This is from globalmediainsight.com. You can look at the statistics and see what is important for you and do a little bit of background reading. But for us, it's just important to, okay, this is who we're going to deal with. Religion, does it play a role? As I said before, you can live in your expat community and just work in your international offices. On the other hand, it is important to take a look at religion and what it means. So we have 76% who are Muslims. And if you think back of the numbers of expats, the largest or some large population groups are coming from Pakistan, for example, or other Arab countries like Egypt. So you will see, you will notice Muslim lifestyle. There is Christianity 9%, Buddhism 10%, and others that are 5%. So there are churches, there are temples, there is a synagogue or a Jewish community center at least. So all these religions are there. Why is Islam important? Because you will notice it, and you will not only notice it every day on the streets, because you will see mosques, you will see prayer rooms. The calendar is also important for business. Festive days are just different. There is Ramadan where people fast, and there is Eid afterwards. So the calendar is different, and it's the lunar calendar. So, for example, people don't know yet, or they think they know when Ramadan actually starts this year and when the festivities afterwards begin. But they're not quite sure. It could be one day earlier, one day later, so don't quote me. But the thing is, these are things you need to know when you do business there. And also the law. So the law is based on Islamic foundations and also business law. So it's important to look into that. And the interesting thing that you also mentioned, there are young people, there's huge innovation, and there is this there are strong roots in tradition. And you might think, okay, if people are young, they just forget about traditions. Traditions will wash out. Yes. On the other hand, so this is also an interesting statistic. This is by ArabYouthSurvey.com. They do a survey around the whole Arab world, if I may say so, and they asked, which is most important to your personal identity, and people could just tick one box. And in the growth of the Arab countries, people said 27% my religion, 70, and also 27% said my family. Well, in the GCC, in the Gulf Cooperation Council countries, this is a little bit lower, but still. So these are the things that identify young people in the region. Also, there was the question how concerned people are about the loss of traditional values and culture, and 63% were either very concerned or somewhat concerned. So tradition will play a role. Why is this of importance? Because when you talk to people, they have studied abroad, they are super innovative, they have the latest technology, and you might forget that at the core, there are patterns that still play a role, that tradition plays still a role. So what is the first strategy after this first little input part? Do your homework. So do read books, for example. There are great books like The Culture Map or Don't They Know It's Friday. Do read them. Do talk to people. Do talk to people who are already where you want to be and ask. But then research, adapt, and stay open. So reading is good, but being open is the top skill here. Second part is about cultural awareness. Cultural awareness is a buzzword a little bit when you think of cross-cultural skills. And what does it mean? So this is an old model. You might have heard of the culture iceberg, which goes back to the 70s. But I think this metaphor is still great to understand the hidden dynamics behind people's behavior, especially in such a diverse and hybrid setting. And on the top of the iceberg, above the waterline, there are all the things we can hear, see, and experience. And there are, of course, the words. Apart from the words, we have the non-verbals. So non-verbal things like proximity, things like eye contact, things like greeting, things like eating together, things like body language. All those things are our environment. So we're communicating with our background, with the background when we're in a webinar. And my question to you, again, just to get you think a little bit. What are the words, the verbals and the non-verbals that you will be seeing? And think about your business context, or think about your personal context if you want to deal with or if you want to enter the Emirati market. So what do you think? What are the words, non-verbals, that you will hear and see in this diverse environment? And just type into the chat, and I'll give you some time again. And maybe words are starting to come in with hand moves. Yani, non-verbals, how people address. Yes, exactly. Good points here. So hand gestures, yeah. What else? Think of the challenging things, or maybe also the non-challenging things. Okay, anything else? Otherwise, I'll just, oh yeah, there's something coming in. Aspirations, okay. So especially, so what we can smell, so we have the trading traditions, yeah. And also what we can smell in the Gulf, all those nice scents. So trading traditions, what does it mean? The Arab culture is a touch and see culture. So because we say trading traditions, so people want to see, people want to it's much more sensual. So yeah, what else? Okay, so from the verbal part, you will hear things, oh, there's something in gender relationships, shaking hands or not to shake hands, yes, appropriate topics, but we're getting already a little bit into evaluation here, but yes, so, and you'll sense, okay, this is an appropriate topic, this is not, you will see from the body language. So language-wise, and there was this first question at the beginning, what languages should I translate my business material in? Should I just have them translated into Arabic or into English, or who's my target group? And in a business setting, as I said, this is diverse business settings, but you will hear, interestingly, from people who speak Arabic, you will hear things like opportunity, investment, business model, things like that. And you will hear, again, this is the dichotomy here a little bit, you will hear things like, inshallah, yani, sabr, from people who speak English. So that's interesting, isn't it? So, on the non-verbal side, a lot of things you mentioned. So there will be women shaking your hands as a man, women who wouldn't. There are people dressed in business dress. There are people dressed in traditional clothes. There are expensive sports cars, amazing architecture, traditional things like mosques. There are traditional food ceremonies like offering coffee. So again, we have this mix, and the art is to find your way around, to be able to create a report and to switch to whoever is here in front of you. And how can we find out? We can find out by changing perspective. And this is what cultural awareness is about. It's about looking underneath the iceberg, looking underneath what is there. So, okay, somebody else is trying to connect. That is good. You can probably also message each other directly, and I'll put it into the public chat. I'm not sure. But anyway, so it's always worth, and you're starting to create connections here already, which is great, Sarah. Okay, so it's the mindset, it's the beliefs, and it's the values. So it's good to know your iceberg, and it's good to know the iceberg of the people you're talking to. And we'll see that both innovation and tradition, why especially the Emirati region innovates so quickly and is so traditional, is deeply rooted in the region's history. Because what we do not want to do is we don't want icebergs to collide. We want to pass them, you want them to pass each other smoothly. So, so let's stay here. So the second big strategy, if you want to succeed, is in view of this diversity, in view of this hybridity, take your time to step back and look beyond the iceberg. Look at what is there. Look at the traditions. Look at the patterns that have formed these behaviors. And when I just may get back to the young people who are traditional and have been trained in international universities, we all think of us wherever we are, whatever our background is. Whenever we're under stress, whenever it gets emotional, we go back to traditional patterns. So this is why this is so important to look into those things. Okay, number 3, relationships first. You probably have already heard the term relationship-based culture, relationship-first culture, if ever this is true for a region, it is the Gulf region, Arab culture. And the question is, do people get down to business straight away? Or does it take a long time to warm up, to see if somebody can be trusted? So this is a very nice book. You might have heard of it, Erin Meyer's Culture Map. And there's also a website with online tools that you can use. She did some research into various countries and see how trust is built in those countries. And there are so-called task-based countries like the UK or Germany, and relationship-based countries or regions like the Emirates, for example, like the UAE. In task-based cultures, people get down to business directly. You don't want to waste time. How do we build trust? We trust somebody if they work efficiently, if they always deliver, if things get done quickly, if it's good to work with them, then we trust them business-wise. And in relationship-based cultures, it's quite the opposite. We trust people if we really get to know them, if we know somebody who knows them well, so it takes time. And if we look, so Austria is somewhat more on the relationship-based side as compared to Germany, for example. The interesting thing is, if you look at India, Pakistan, and other countries, there's pretty similar on the scale to the UAE. And we heard that about 80% of the Emirati population are expats, and a lot of them from India and Pakistan. So it's not only the 11.5% Emiratis that have that relationship-based culture, but it is a lot of the expert people living there as well. So if you, for example, are the type who says, I must have an answer by Thursday, or your office back home says, we must have an answer by Thursday, and you tell this to somebody from a relationship-based culture, like the Emirates, you would probably hear sabr, shway shway. And the only thing that can help you is probably wasta, which is who you know. So you might know somebody who can override whatever difficulties. So the thing is, in relationship-based cultures, take your time. It doesn't make sense to fill your calendar to the brim with appointments. Take your time to get to know people, and there will be a lot of waiting time. But what you can do in this waiting time, make good use of it. Socialize. So tip number 3, or strategy number 3, sabr. So which means patience. Take it slow, take your time to build trust. Number 4 will be decoding context. And this is about what Erin Meyer also calls the art of reading the air. And let's look at the next scale that we've got here. So as we had task first, relationship first cultures, there are low context and high context cultures. And if you look at the distribution of the countries, this is pretty similar to the scale we had before. What does it mean, low context? In countries like Germany, for example, or the UK, we don't need a lot of context to understand what's being said. So things are said at face value. Communication is, you could say, direct. And this is what people consider good communication. So you're a good communicator if you are succinct, to the point. Again, this goes a little bit together with task-based, because then it's efficient. This is good communication. In high context countries, we need a lot of context, a lot of non-verbals, a lot of background knowledge, a lot of inference to understand what is being said. And yeah, so this is the art. This is what good communication is about. So texts need to be subtle, creative. If you don't immediately grasp the answer, people might think, oh, are they stupid? While in low context cultures, it's a virtue to repeat, to say it again, just to be safe. In high context cultures, it's the opposite. It's like, wow, do I really need to say that again? Why did he tell me again? Why did they tell me again? Do you think, do they think I don't know. So this is something that is important to know. And the skill that you, or that people from low context cultures want to learn is translating from English to English, reading between the lines, and both when receiving and when sending out messages. So let's look at a little bit of an example here. So if you have your high context business partner and something is just not possible, right? So would they tell you, no, that's not possible? Just type into the chat. What do you think? No. No is definitely the right answer. What would they say? What would you hear? Any ideas here? What might they say? Probably when I change slides, you will give me the answers. Yep. Okay. A story around expressing concerns indirectly. Yes, exactly. So storytelling, definitely. If not a story, is something like, we will try. I'll see what I can do. Would you like, instead of, or inshallah. Inshallah means if God wills. So, and this is an interesting phrase that you will be also faced a lot, and it has two meanings. So, but before we go into the meanings, first of all, why is this info important for you? Because this, when you hear, we'll try, I'll see what I can do. Would you like instead of? So if we say that, we will try. We'll see what we can do. If somebody from a low context, from a high context culture tells you, and you have the nonverbals, we'll try. What does it mean? No, probably not. It's a no-go. They can't do it. We'll see what I can. I'll see what I can do. Okay, so plan B. And very often, so politeness, relationship building and politeness or hospitality is very important. So, for example, when you're invited to somebody, or when your future plans, also privately, you probably will hear, yeah, let's meet on Thursday to go, I don't know where, to do some private function. You probably hear, inshallah. If you hear it like this, it means, well, inshallah. Can you provide us with the details by Thursday? Inshallah. So if you hit that way, so it's not going to happen. If you, but other people, because we said the religion has a strong influence, whether people are conscious about it or not. It's just patterns. When you from an early age on hear it used that way, or have that inside you, that you know that we cannot, and this is the Islamic belief, that we cannot determine the future. It's not upon us, it's upon God. So we say also in a different intonation, yeah, we'll meet inshallah on Friday. This is a different intonation. Then people would just say, okay, yeah, it's not up in me. Things might happen. My mother might fall ill, hopefully not. But so then this is added to the sentence. But if you have inshallah, then you know it's not going to happen. So on the other hand, what would you then say, knowing this and being too direct? Would mean losing face for the other person. So it's not, are those people liars? No, they are not. People who say, we'll see what we can do. They are not liars. It's just their code. It's the code of of high context cultures to word and know this way. If you come in directly and say, look, what does it mean for the other side? How is it received? So, yeah, if you want to write into the chat, that's fine. But this probably was also to give you some thinking time. Yes, it's considered rude to direct. We go, oh, even if people know that this is what low context cultures code their messages in. But again, if it's getting emotional, if we're under stress, old patterns kick in. So would you say, no, we can't do that? Probably not. Question to you in the chat. What could you say? What would you say? What would you feel comfortable saying? And this is a good question, because you might not be comfortable saying we will try our best if you're not trying your best, if it's a no. What is a way how you comfortably could say, no, we can do that? Any ideas in the chat? Can I give you some time here to think? Yeah, so is this the only opportunity? This will be difficult. Yeah, because this is not a lie. This will exactly. So is this the only opportunity? A question is good. It's always good to have to get people on board by using we. So is there something we could look into? And another opportunity we could look into? Yes, great. So as you said before, well, this could be difficult. We could try X instead. Yes. So okay, there's one slide missing, but never mind. So this is about strategy number 4, and this was about relationship first. So try to take a different look at efficiency. Try to take a different look at time, and we're going to talk about time in the next section as well. So build your relationships, and number 4 was about reading the air. Have all senses open. So if you hear something, don't take it at face value. Translate from English to English. What could it actually mean? And learn to be diplomatic when you say something. What can you do here? You can read great books about it, but what you can also do is observe. Because as I said before, you might be in one bubble, somebody else might be in a completely different bubble. So the art and the strategy is to have all your channels open, to watch and observe, to see how things play out, and to slip into this role yourselves. So listening to the air. Number 3 is a quick, so we're looking deeper underneath the iceberg now, is about the cultural heritage, and that is not just amazing, but is something people are very proud of in the Emirates and in the Gulf region. And being open for that heritage, for that traditional historic background, helps us understand why things are the way they are. And what I would like to look in here is the concept of time. And we might hear those sayings like, yeah, everybody's unpunctual, nobody cares about time. Differently. So it's just a different concept of time. It's a fluid concept of time. So people are very much in the here and now. And where does this come from? Where does this historically come from? So if you think of the Arab Emirates, of the nomadic past of the region, of people having to survive in the desert, constantly changing situations, it's the here and now that matters. And this also is connected, or just goes hand in hand with the religious belief that I mentioned before, belief in predestination. So it's not us who control time or what's going to happen in the future. We don't know. So this is the belief. So we focus on the here and now, and no fate is dominated, or no is decided by a calendar or by a watch. And this is exactly where this great potential for innovation comes from, because on the one hand, and this is what we can see when we think of a Sachelfeldkan. So if you look at, they still survive in this region. They hover above their prey in the air for a long time, and they have to be patient. So you have this concept of patience, sabr, on the one hand, but then on the other hand, you have to seize an opportunity when it comes. And I think this is the seeming paradox again, where you think you'll be kept waiting and waiting, and projects keep going on and going on, and then all of a sudden a decision comes very quickly. And this is a typical way business decisions often take place. And yeah, if you just think of the falcons as a metaphor, this helps you understand. To survive, you have to be patient. But on the other hand, if there's an opportunity, seize it quickly. So just to wrap this up, and I would like to ask you just to go through those 5 strategies one more time, and just to see what you could take away, or where there might be open questions. I would like to go through them, and I would give you some time for each strategy to write your ideas, your takeaway into the chat for each of them. So the first one was doing your homework, do your research, because there is a lot of knowledge. Ask the people, but then stay flexible, adapt, and stay open. And please, into the chat, just write what was your takeaway? How could you make use of this when entering the market in the Emirates? How could this be helping you? It could be a one-word takeaway. Also a question that might lead us to the Q&A afterwards. So anyway, in any case, there's just some answers coming in. Yeah, be open. Am I still? No, the screen is off. Yes. I don't know if I'm still. You can still see me. Mm-hmm. So I can see anything. So I'm with you anyways. So, but I can't see the chat, unfortunately. So that's.
We'll check.
Yeah.
What's happening here? Like it's a screen. This connection. Strange. I mean, what we could do, I don't need the screen. Could you just read what's in the chat quickly, summarizing? That would be a great help. So Vassilios wrote, be open-minded and respect other cultures. Yes, Karen, dealing with multiple cultures present in the UAE. Mm-hmm. Definitely the takeaway. Mm-hmm. And Sarah wrote, adapt another time mode and be patient in building relations. Okay, yes, definitely. And when I said do your research, there is a great book I can recommend. It's called Don't They Know It's Friday? And if you're just really interested in the region and how people tick there, this is a warm recommendation on my side. So thank you for this input. For number 2, looking beneath the waterline of the cultural iceberg. And again, I give you some time here to reflect. What does it mean? How could it help you? And what is your takeaway? And this, by the way, might help you also communicate with international people wherever you are based. It's the basic, it's the same. And it pays also looking at... repeat the question.
Okay. The question is about mastering the cultural iceberg. So about looking underneath the waterline. Where does that... Can people still see the slides?
Yes.
Okay, that's perfect. Okay, so where does this help you? What comes to mind? What is an insight? What do you want to take with you on your trip to Arab Health, probably, or also when working internationally? And I just wanted to say that it's also worth from time to time to look at our own cultural icebergs, to look at what we do when we... yeah, here we go. I'm back. I always was here, but yeah. So, okay, what could you do? So there's some internal conversation going on, which is nice. Okay, let's move to number 3 then. But I think I'm not able to change slides here. Here we go. Okay, never mind. So I can either see the chat or you. Oh, thank you. Super. Okay, taking it slow. Take your time to build trust. Where do you see challenges here, and what can help you? And who of you is super efficient? On the scale of 0 to 10, just also type into the chat if you like. How important is doing things quickly and efficiently? How important is that for me? So, are you an 8? So, I would definitely be an 8 in my an 8, yeah, kind. Okay, 0. Okay, wow. That is good. Okay. And that is a smiley. That I can only think what it means. Yes. Okay. So take your time. If you're an 8, try to get down to 6 at least. So now changing slides. How does it work? Let me see. I'm in the wrong. Never mind. So this gives you just more time to digest. Okay. Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
too far. I went too far. Sorry.
Learning to be diplomatic. So again, here, as I said before, it's observing. And when you take a step back, when you take things more slowly, those of you who are super efficient, you might be amazed by what you can sense and learn of things that are going around. So what is something that can help you or take away about learning to be diplomatic? So I think for me, it's always different because also professionally, I deal with various cultures, and international cultures have their own culture most of the time. So I think really reading the air also in seemingly low context cultures is always a good thing to do.
Switch again, helping us.
So, okay, switching to fourth. Okay, right. So, yeah, and the last one is exploring the past. And I think if you travel and if you just really immerse into the area, that's the best thing to explore the past. There's also some great reading if you're a reader, of course, but it helps us re-evaluate certain behaviors, and we might get frustrated if things don't turn out the way we're supposed or we want them to be. We might get a little bit impatient at times. But then again, exploring the why, exploring the past, exploring our own past, just acknowledging also within ourselves there are patterns that we just do because they're ingrained. We've been doing them so many times. Just helps get out of the thinking mind, dig a little deeper, and yeah, just understand and learn more about the people we deal with. So for me, this has been the input session, and we're right on time. It's 11 o'clock here where I'm. If you just can switch for me, if you don't mind, because just the last couple of thank you. So because what I would like to ask you is to please connect. So if you found this interesting, I'll be here for a short Q&A session. But if you found this interesting and would like to talk a little bit about this, please connect. Please book a call. And if you can I move on? Does it work? Nah.
I think you have to again.
Have to. Okay, right. So.
Okay.
This is directly. Can you? This is directly my. Oh yeah, here we go. Confusing ending. All right. So please connect. Please connect on LinkedIn. And there is also a link, but probably we might bring that up later. If you watch the recording, if you haven't registered for the webinar, and if you would like to receive my workbook, there is a link where you can get that. And probably we'll look at that later. But then I'm passing over to you, Lisa, just to
thank you. Just wanting to thank you for this interesting insight, and thanks for being here with us today. And to all the participants, so it is now time to ask your individual questions. I seen a few that were posted in right at the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we can connect on the language question, which is also would be interesting for me. So is it necessary to translate documents into Arabic, the core documents into Arabic language, or is the working language really English?
And I think this is also, again, dependent on your specific target audience. So generally, English is spoken as a business language wherever you want to go. If you want to reach out emotionally and your target to clients and your target audience, and again, so they might not be national Emiratis. They might be people from a different population group, so then it pays, but a translation is good when it's a good one. So better stick to a good English. That's my 2 cents here. Better stick to a good translation in English than a not so good one in Arabic.
Okay. Yeah, I understand. Also, Karin has a question, I see. Apart from reading recommendations, are you aware of any podcasts relevant for the listening recommendations?
I mean, not podcasts don't come to my mind, but that's a good one. I will look into that. And I will definitely, if this is on YouTube or wherever, I'll post it in comments. What I like to do, but this is again me personally, there is an Emirati Shark Tank version, which is in English. Some of it is partly depends on who is there pitching. Some of it is in Arabic. But I think that's just to get the sense of it. It's a nice one. So I can recommend that. You can watch that.
So are there any other questions? Anyone brave enough to ask a question? You can also always switch on your microphone and camera and ask directly a question. So do not waste your chance.
Hi, can you hear me?
Hi, yes.
Hi,
I'm Vasilios from Epicardio. One question I have is like when you're at the trade show, do people usually give out leaflets? Do people take leaflets or like tangible kind of brochures, or is it not, is this a no-no?
So I would think a leaflet is still something that you have in your hands. So this is something tangible is always, as I say, it's a touch and feel culture. It depends again. So you have this broad spectrum of people. So there is technology is very important, but on the other hand, so it is still a see and feel and touch culture. So having something
Okay,
haptic,
yeah.
I think is never a mistake.
So also, do people prefer to be given business cards, like actual business cards, or rather just electronic mode? Because sometimes in most kind of Western trade shows, leaflets and business cards have become obsolete.
Yes. So this is again with who you want to reach out. This is the same like if you think of greeting, and you might be aware of that. So there's always the thing about greeting as a man, a woman with a handshake or not. So what would you do? You would just sense, you would just see what is there, and you will be prepared. And I think the same thing is here. So there are people who just have their QR codes and everything is online, but it just really depends on who you want to talk to. So this is definitely something that you have. But if you want to reach out, and who are the people you want to reach out to at the trade fair? So most of them might be international. Who are you talking to? So if you want to reach out to somebody personal, there are still business cards used, but just again, get a sense of it, observe, see what your target audience is like, and especially in an audience that is paperless only. If you then come in with something hectic, you're standing out. So there's also just something.
Okay, thank you.
I see Sarah posted a question into the chat, or 2 questions.
how do you make a service tangible apart with flyers and business cards? Yeah, so I'm not the marketing specialist here, but I think being creative, you can make, so what I would say is having a demo, having something that people can try out. I think this is how you can make it tangible. And I don't know about your business, about your industry, but again, brainstorm, what could people touch, feel, taste? There might be an idea. Probably you might take a look more into the final benefit, into the what's in it for them. Look a little bit further in the product journey and see if you find something tangible that relates.
New question coming in.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah, so it depends where you are. Good question. So generally, Habibi can be very warm, and again, so you have the iceberg, you have the words, and you have the context. You have the otherwise respectful setting. So if it's woman to woman, so it's very close, it's very touchy, so don't be surprised. Man to woman is different, so you probably wouldn't hear that. But if it's woman to woman, and there are a lot of women in business, so you don't be surprised if people might touch you, say, Habibti. So this is something that you could expect. Yeah, I don't know if that's the question, if that was the answer to your question, or if there was something else behind that. So I would, it's again about observing. It's about what you might not do, or I don't know. It's really very situational. So as I said, this is high context. So be careful what you do. Sense the air. Sense what is used. But especially among women, this is just nice.
Yeah, I think it's a good question, and maybe connecting to that, I was also wondering, as I'm a woman now, and it's the Arab world is really male dominated still. So how is it best to connect with men in business? Because am I always a subordinate, or could we be also on the same level when doing business, or how? Yeah, can I approach men? I mean, is there some restrictions or something to be aware of? Or
it's the general restrictions that you're aware of. It's about we communicate with our flows, we communicate with our body language. Of course, there are rules about touch. But I think, and this is also the same thing. If you look at business women in the Emirates, and there are international business women, there are Arab business women. So if it's business, it's about business. If it's about humor, it's about humor. And so there might be women having their heads covered, but the communication is the communication. So I think if that is what you come in, that's it. So and being subordinate is not so much about being the woman, it's about being your role. Who are you there? Who are you meeting? Who is your direct contact? And yeah, so be there, be relatable, so when I think about relationship building, it's important to have the same person here, because you're the person building trust. You're the person having that sense of humor. Sense of humor is important. So, and you are there again and again. People see you, they trust you, they know you can help them, they know what you can offer. I think that's more important. So I think gender is about the rules, about the etiquette, about knowing about these things. But then it's about being open, finding out and presenting what you have.
That's good to hear. There's another comment.
Personalized environmental analysis. So if you want to offer something tangible, would it be an idea to bring, for example, items with me which are toxic and not good for health? Communication-wise, so there is the threat and there is the reward, and of course you want to cause huge pain because then people want to buy. So this is my personal idea. Coming in with something toxic might not be something that is super alluring. So probably thinking about something that is good. So thinking of a positive sign of something something you want to achieve. That might be nicer. But that's again my process. So this is a marketing strategy. I'm not a marketing expert. So from my perspective, try to find something positive because positive things stick. If it's a good thing, people might take it home. They have good memories and they anchor good memories. I would think is nicer if you find something than toxic. But I know where you're coming from. So, okay, on the other hand, so you were just in the process of writing products which are healthy. Yes, so probably something, and the impact. Think of the positive impact and finding a way of anchoring that positive impact, because that's what we want to be drawn towards. Right. Anything else? So many interesting questions already.
Great discussion coming up.
And as Lisa said before, you're also free to open the microphone if you have a question and want to ask directly and come onto camera. That's also fine.
Okay, I think if there are no more questions coming up right now, I mean, always, of course, you can contact Isabella.
Yeah.
And she can answer your questions directly, of course. Stay in touch with her and you will get the recording. So that leaves me with thanking you for your interest and your active participation, for asking so many questions. And again, you, Isabella, for your interesting insights. Yes, I wish you all a nice rest of the day and hope to see you again at one of our other events and maybe also at the Arab Health Mission.
Thank you also from my side. Thank you for having me. And thank you, for your participation, for your questions. It was a pleasure being with you here today.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. Bye, everybody.
Bye.